It's 7 o'clock. I've started the recording
We're
whenever
at
you're ready,
7?
Randolph.
Okay, sure, let's get going. Okay, let me just resize. I'm going to just read some introductory notes and then we'll talk about the order of the cases. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Randolph Micklejohn. I'm a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the town of Brookline and the chair of this evening's meeting. Before we begin, I will confirm that all members and other persons anticipated to participate on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Audner Auger?
Here.
Steve Brooks?
Here.
Thank you. And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Cameron James?
Here.
And that's it for staff, Cameron, right?
Yep.
All right. All speakers should identify themselves by name prior to speaking. This meeting of the ZBA in open session is being conducted remotely and in a manner that is consistent with Chapter 2 of the Act of 2025, which authorizes this body to meet entirely remotely so long as adequate alternative means of public access is provided. Adequate public access does not include public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the ZBA is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the town's calendar, which identifies how the public may access the meeting. Be advised that this meeting is being held and that some attendees may be participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town website through a link in the agenda. The meeting will follow the agenda unless I note otherwise. Next, I will cover some ground rules that will permit clear and effective conduct of our business and help to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each member by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold yours until your name is called. Please also remember to mute your phone or your computer when you are not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Before responding, please wait until the floor is yielded to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through me. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call. Finally, I will explain how members of the public may speak in this meeting. If you wish to speak, you may either raise your hand using the Zoom feature for that or send a chat message to our host, Cameron. Cameron, I will ask you to help me look for raised hands and also to tell me about requests to speak that you receive. I will try to call on members of the public in the order in which their requests were received. When it is your turn to speak, I will call on you by name only. Please begin your remarks by confirming your name and stating your address. All right, and we will go now to the agenda, which is on a separate piece of paper. We have 3 items on the agenda this evening. And normally I say we will hear them in the order in which they appear, but my understanding is that the third case may be withdrawn. We have the applicant here, and if it's not withdrawn, to continue to another date. If that's the case, with the applicant representative, please introduce themselves and tell us what we're going to do.
Yes, hi, good evening. For the record, Ashley Duvall. I'm a planner at Our Law at 300 Washington Street in Brookline Village. I'm here on behalf of the homeowners this evening. As Chair Micklejohn noted, we are requesting a continuance tonight. The reason we can...
Sorry, Ashley, and this is 43 Kensington Circle.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So 43 Kensington Circle, this afternoon, an interpretation question was raised about the special permit that's being sought. So we just would like a little time to do some research on that interpretation. When we spoke with Ms. Selko this afternoon, she said the next available date would be 12/4. So we would just request to continue to that date to give us a little more time to prepare.
All right. Cameron, can you remind me, do we vote continuances?
Yes, you vote continuances.
Yes, all right. All right, I will move, say the date again, please, Ashley.
December 4th at 7 p.m. is the
December,
request. Thank you.
December 4th. On the motion to continue the 43 Kensington case to December 4th at 7 p.m. Members, your votes, please. Wadner Ogier,
Aye.
Steve Brooks,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. That's unanimous. Ashley, thank you. We will see you on December 4th, or somebody will.
Thank you all.
All right. All right. Back to the top of the agenda. And I will just speak about the way in which we'll proceed through each of the two remaining 48 cases on the agenda. For each case, I will introduce it by the number and street address and identify the applicant or person who will speak on the applicant's behalf and ask if they will waive a reading of the public notice. The applicant will present the request for relief, and if the board requests it, the design of the project. And board members may ask questions of the applicant. Next, we will hear public comment. First, I will call on those members of the public wishing to speak in favor of the project, and then on those opposed. We will then hear the reports of the planning department and of the planning board and comments by the building department. Finally, the board will deliberate and give its decision. All right, now for cases on the agenda, the first one is number 2025-000052. This concerns property at 6769, that's with a hyphen, Winthrop Road, where the project is to demolish a detached garage and construct a new detached garage. Who is here as the applicant or on behalf of the applicant?
Good evening again, Ashley Duval, planner at our law, 300 Washington Street here.
That's why you're still here. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Ashley, will you waive a reading of the public notice?
I will. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Please tell the board about this request for relief.
Great. Thank you so much. So on with me tonight is the homeowner, Karen Weaver. I see her there, and Michael Kaiser might be on as well, but they might be together. We also have the project architect, Alan Christ, so he'll be available should the board like a presentation or have any questions. As Chair Micklejohn noted, this proposal is to demolish an existing detached garage that's at the rear of the property. The preservation staff found the existing garage to not be historically significant, and the proposal is to construct a new garage using the existing foundation. This was flagged for zoning because the height is 2 feet taller than what is there today. So the garage is not getting any closer to the rear or the side setback. I will say I think this is a case where it's too bad that the building commissioner doesn't have the authority to administratively approve this. I think if you read the Bialtic case, this is really not changing the nature of the nonconformity, but because there's 2 feet more of building, we're here requesting a finding under 48 Section 6 that this change is not going to be detrimental to the neighborhood and that there's no new nonconformity created. So as I mentioned, Alan Christ is here if you would like a presentation. I understand the board has received the planning board report and the plans ahead of this meeting. So if you have questions for him, we can do that as well.
Thank you, Ashley. Let's do this. Let's just have a few questions from the board, and at the end of that, we'll see whether we need to see Alan's presentation. Steve, can I start with you? Do you have questions about the design?
I don't have any questions about it. I've reviewed it already.
Okay. Wadner, how about you?
I do not have any questions.
All right. Thank you. I have just one question, and it's probably in the documents. Ashley, you anticipated the question, which is, was there some dimension that was different from the existing garage to the new one? You say it's 2 feet higher. What is the height of the existing garage and the height of the new in absolute terms?
So the proposed garage is, I think, just under 10.5 feet. Alan can correct me if I'm wrong. And so the existing garage is about 8 feet. So we're under 15 feet. So we still conform to the accessory structure dimension. I don't know if that's where you're going, Randolph, but
No, I was just going, I was going to your point earlier, which is that hoping that there had to be some change to, you know, to that it wasn't just the recreation of something, and that the fact that it is larger makes it, I would say, a little more necessary that we have a discussion about it. And the shape of the garage, and looking at the drawings now, is just, it's a flat box with a flat roof, right?
That's right.
Okay. That was my, and how old was the existing garage? Approximately?
I don't know, Alan, do you know how old it is?
Or the house?
The house is
I
old.
don't. Yeah, I think the house is over 100 years old. I'm not sure about the garage.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
old
looking
enough
at,
to where historic thought it was significant.
okay. Yeah, oh, thank you. That's enough to answer my question. Board members, Wadner and Steve, do either of you need to see a presentation of the design? Steve,
I don't.
Wadner? Well, while we're waiting for Wadner, I will say I do not need to see a presentation of the design. Alan, thank you for attending just in case, and thank you for the drawings. Ashley, while we're just waiting to hear from Wadner, he may have had to just turn off for a second there. Can you give us the your zoning
Sure, I
argument,
can go
please?
into the zoning argument, no
Mhm.
problem. So as I mentioned, setback relief is sought under 48 Section 6 to increase the pre-existing non-conforming side and rear yard setbacks. And this has been interpreted due to that increase in height. Again, the actual building is not going any closer to the setbacks. So under Section 5.63 of the Brookline zoning bylaw, accessory structures and side yards must have a setback of at least 6 feet. And the existing setback is 0.3 feet, and there's no change to that. And then under Section 5.72, accessory structures require a rear yard setback of 6 feet. And again, it's at about 0.3 feet, and there are no changes to that. So under 48 Section 6, the ZBA can grant a finding and allow this change if there's no new nonconformity created, which there is not, and if there's not substantial detriment to the neighborhood. The board has used Section 905, the special permit standards, on previous cases to look at detriment, so I'll just review those briefly. The specific site is an appropriate location for such use. It's been a garage for a very long time for 2 cars, and it will continue to be used as such. And accessory garages are very common to family homes. The use will also not adversely affect the neighborhood. So again, this garage has been there for a long time. The planning board felt aesthetically this would be an improvement. The existing garage is in pretty bad shape. And one, I think, really positive thing about this proposal is that they're using the existing foundation, and there are a lot of trees in the area. So this will be kind of as least disruptive as possible to those trees. And that was really an important part of this puzzle for the homeowners. The Preservation Commission didn't find it historically significant, which says a lot. There's a strong affinity in Brookline for detached garages. So we don't think that this new garage will adversely affect the neighborhood. There will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. There's no change to circulation on site. Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation, and it certainly won't affect the supply of affordable housing.
Thank you. Wadner, I'm just checking in with you because your video was off for a little bit. Did you need to see a presentation of the design drawings?
No.
I think that was a no. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Board members, either of you have any questions at the end of this applicant's presentation, including the zoning argument?
I don't.
All
I
right.
do not.
All right. Cameron, do we have members of the public who'd like to speak about the project either way?
No hands are raised, and I don't see anything in chat.
Okay. I will move a little slowly in case some hands pop up here, but I think in the meantime, we could move to the reports of the planning department and the planning board.
Sure. So the planning board supports this proposal to rebuild the failing garage in the same location as the existing one. There should be no increase in impacts to the abutters, and the board found the appearance of the garage exterior very attractive. The planning board recommends approval of the site plan prepared by Peter Nolan, PLS, dated October 6, 2025, and architectural plans prepared by Alan Christ, dated October 15th, 2025. And under the following conditions. 1, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect, and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the Director of Regulatory Planning for review and approval. And 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval the site plan, floor plans, elevation, displaying the approval stamp of the Director of Regulatory Planning and evidence that the Board of Appeals decision has been obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or their representative and recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
All right, thank you. And I think you said it a moment ago, you're going to give us the building department's comments as well on their behalf.
Yep, so the building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw, board's decision, and applicable codes.
All right, members, this is the end of the Q&A section. Any questions for Cameron on either of those reports?
I have none.
I do not have any questions.
All right, thank you. So I think we can go to deliberation. Steve, would you like to start on this one?
Sure, I don't see any nonconformity that would cause any issues for me. It's not, certainly not substantially detrimental to the neighborhood. It's the existing foundation, the existing setback, a couple of feet higher is certainly not significant enough to me to warrant any type of issue with this. So I would vote in favor.
All right, thank you. Wadner?
I agree with Steve, and I have nothing more to add.
Thank you. I concur. I think this is the reuse of the foundation is of course, as the applicant's representative mentioned, helpful in the preservation of trees, also reducing the scope of construction on the back of a lot. And it really sends home the point that this is just a new garage, which is essentially the same as the other, except that it's 2 feet taller. I don't think the additional 2 feet gets anywhere close to being substantially more detrimental. And of course, the use remains the same. In my opinion, the 905 conditions for approval of this special permit are met in this case. I'm not going to read them again. We had a good summary of them by the applicant. That having been said, I would vote in favor, and that is a unanimous decision of the board to grant the requested relief subject to the conditions that have been read into the record.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. All right. Winthrop Road there. Our next case is number 2025-000054. This concerns property at 80 Greeno Street, where the project is to construct a 2-story rear addition. And I'm going to insert just something brief here at the beginning, and I'm just going to read it. For the record, I would like to state that I have filed a disclosure form with my appointing authority, the Select Board, advising them in writing of a relationship between myself and an abutter, one who has submitted written comments, where the relationship might have the appearance of a conflict of interest. This is as provided by Massachusetts General Laws 268A, Section 23B3. The abutter is Cornelia Brown, also known as Nina Brown, at 50 Gorham Avenue, and she and I are personally acquainted. We have no business or financial relationship. My opinion, as I stated to the Select Board, is that this relationship does not constitute an actual conflict of interest for purposes of this hearing, and that I will be able to exercise impartially my duties as a member of the ZBA. Back to the normal script. Who is here as the applicant or on behalf of the applicant?
Michael Kim, architect, representing the applicant, who is also present on Zoom.
Thank you. Will one or both of you waive the reading of the public notice?
We will do that.
All right, thank you. Please tell the board about the request for relief.
Andreas, do you want to?
I can allow her to unmute. Should be good now.
Yes, please.
Hello. So
Turn on the video.
we
Hi, Mr. Alf, sorry, I'm just going to pause you and ask you to introduce yourself by your name and give your address.
sure. My name is Andreas Rolfs, and I'm from the owner of 80 Greeno Street in the applicant.
Thank you.
And so we asked for the relief here, or for the zoning relief, due to the needs of my disabled son, so that we can install a proper ramp into the house, so he can actually access the house safely and in the future potentially independently. And then within the house, we also have to accommodate his wheelchair and other needs. So that's why we asked for the additional space in the back. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Let's see. I think I'm going to recommend that we go into a presentation of the design. Maybe that's you, Mr. Kim.
Yes, happy to do so.
And I'm just going to mention on the way into that, in case anybody needs time to catch up. In addition to some public comment, the members of the board received new documents only a few hours ago in the middle of the afternoon, which included the applicant's response to one of the abutter comments and also a copy of some correspondence, a copy of a letter to the applicant from the building commissioner. And Stephen Wadner, I haven't had a chance to ask you whether you've received and reviewed those. Can you tell me?
I have, and I have.
You have, and Wadner?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Let's see the drawings, please.
Okay, can I do a screen share? Okay.
Yes, you should be all set to screen share.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's see. The design is to the rear of this yellow house, one of the remaining single-family Victorian houses on Greeno Street. The front of the building significantly is not being touched, much to the relief of the Preservation Commission. The ask is for provisions added to the rear of the house, which includes a handicap ramp, a family room, an expanded kitchen, and upstairs accommodation for special needs for their son, who is now an adolescent. And prior to this, the father was carrying him up the stairs every night, and which was fine when he was a toddler, but he is now getting bigger, and we are all getting older. So that is the reason for this ask. The floor plans entail the rear addition, which allows for a sunroom and expanded kitchen for their son, as well as this kind of unique arrangement of the master bedroom and his bedroom accessible to the adjacent bath, as he needs monitoring all night. So we are adding provision for that. The building, as I said, is remarkably untouched from public view. All the addition is to the rear, and the rear setback is the existing house is actually in the rear setback. We are extending, the ask is to extend that relief. Rear elevation, you can see the handicap ramp. We have, by the way, tried every combination of lifts, elevators, ramps, and so forth to come up with this solution. and then the side elevation on the left side, the short yard. And that is the design. A brief explanation of the correspondence or letter from Dan Bennett, building commissioner. As you are probably aware, at the last town meeting, a new provision for reasonable accommodation was passed. And Mr. Bennett asked us to apply under this provision with the knowledge that it is not yet approved by the Attorney General, and in the highly unlikely event that it's not, we would be back in front of you. We received the letter 2 days ago, so we pursued both paths in parallel, and it turned out it took the same amount of time, saving 2 days. But it was a dry run for the building department. The process seems to work. And in the future, we'll look forward to using that. And you can look forward to not seeing projects such as this for special accommodation, a reasonable accommodation for some of our less fortunate neighbors. So that is the reason we pursued that route. However, we want the route that will guarantee us the special permit. So we are here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I just ask you to
Sure.
go, while you have the drawings up, to go back to the site plan showing the new construction?
Right.
Yeah, that one is fine. And I just want to close a loop with the setback from the new construction from the rear lot line. And maybe you can correct something in the planning department report. I'm sourcing this from your comments in response to one of the members of the public who commented, who asked about the dimension between the
Yes.
part of the new construction closest to the lot line and the lot line itself. Can you confirm what that is and where it is on the drawing?
Okay, the planning board report refers to 2/3 of the addition, which is, if you can see my pointer, on this page, the top part of the first floor and the entire second floor addition. That is
Right.
16 feet and change. The sunroom portion of the first story does encroach further into the rear yard setback, and that is approximately 9 feet. So they're both right.
Yes, but as you probably know, Mr. Kim, our convention is to look at the closest construction.
Yeah, and that was
and
depicted in our plan. I couldn't correct the planning board report.
Sure, no, but my understanding, you said about 9 feet from the octagon shape, where
Yes.
what do you call that, the sunroom,
Yes.
to the lot line on the right
Yeah.
side of the drawing.
Believe
Okay.
we have sorry, we have
Rear.
14.6.
Well, see, it's
Okay.
on your, you've got the 14.6 drawn on your drawing too, and that's
That's true. Okay.
I take your
Yeah, I
point.
stand
That
corrected.
is
Yeah.
that does characterize most of the construction, but
Right.
I just wanted to have it on the record where the nearest part
Okay.
was.
And I think it should be pointed out the predominant abutter is the side of a 2-car garage, detached garage. So that's right here where it says chain link fence.
Yep.
So that is the most affected abutter.
All right. Let's see. Is that it for now, Mr. Kim? Can I go to the board for questions?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Wadner, questions about the design presentation or anything that's come up so far?
I don't have any specific question, but I was looking at the letter, in terms of the letter we got from the planning department, in terms of what we're supposed to do. Are we, because it's not approved by the Attorney General, that we're supposed to consider all those exceptions? Yeah, I'm just trying to, what the
Yeah, thank you. What do you mind just holding that until we get to the departmental reports section?
Okay.
But I just want to
No,
keep
I
our
don't,
focus on design for now.
that's
I
pretty much,
I understand what you're asking about.
yeah.
Steve, how about you? Design questions?
I have no design questions. Thank you.
Okay. I have one, and this, Mr. Kim, this may be for you. It relates to what we understand to be the zoning argument to be made, which is relying on the provisions of Section 6, Chapter 40A. And if you presented cases like this, you know that the board can grant a special permit under Section 6 if it's able to make a finding about whether the proposed structure is or is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. So what can you show us that will assist us in making that finding? What can you show us about the neighborhood in which you are proposing this project, so we can understand its impact or appearance in the neighborhood?
Okay, I'm glad you asked, and I did prepare a couple of points for that. First of all, it was at the planning board hearing that we are submitting under Section 6 under their recommendation.
Mhm.
And since it states that the project has to be determined to be not more detrimental to the neighborhood, I thought I might address some things the project doesn't do. First of all, it doesn't violate the Brookline zoning for use, for density, for open space, and the only ask is the rear yard setback, which, as I stated, is abutting the side of a blank garage, the blank wall of a side garage. It doesn't require the demolition or covering up of a historic building, much to the relief of the Preservation Commission, who has waived the stay of demolition. So they have approved this project. It doesn't require any additional landscaping in the front yard, which is set back largely from the street wall, which provides light and air as it exists. This, in fact, was Polycelco's basis for not requiring a compensating amenity, because that's usually landscape. And she said, well, we can't put any more landscape here. It's fine. So she suggested going to Section 6. And for the most important reason, this project doesn't lose a longstanding Brookline family with a special needs child who would otherwise not be able to stay in their house. So it was the consensus of that board, as well as the applicant and myself, that this is the finding that these citizens are certainly not detrimental to the neighborhood, and quite the contrary.
Thank you. I'm going to respond just briefly here, and I'd say this is for the future, Mr. Kim. I know you're based in Brookline. We may see you again. I like you, I'm an architect, and I communicate through drawings a lot of the time, and I think drawings would have been a particularly helpful way for you to present and characterize the neighborhood. You spoke to us about the blank wall of the garage that was over the rear lot line. But it would have been, the work of 3 minutes to come up with a drawing that showed the placement of that garage and the depth of the other lots and the 2 multi-story apartment buildings that adjoin this house. And to me, those are examples of ways in which, especially an architect representative, could show the physical character of the neighborhood, the way in which buildings occupy the land, and to suggest and to assist, as I said before, the board in making a finding about substantial detriment. I think in the absence of that, we're sort of thrown back on our knowledge of this fairly central location and in what shows up in the photographs. So it's a bit of a missed opportunity to me, but I think we will carry on.
I'll point out the photographs, the front facade, the ample front yard. Yes, we don't get the abutters, and then the side of the garage, the rear abutters garage, on the other side.
Mr. Kim, we're looking at your timesheet right now. I'm not sure that's what you
I've got
really
the wrong
want to be
screen.
showing us.
Yeah, all right, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Let me get the right screen, if I can. Yeah, okay. So in lieu of drawings, we did have the photographs, which I hope you can see now. The front
Not
yard
just, yeah,
and-
there they are. Okay.
Yeah, and the rear yard.
Yeah, I'll say it again and we'll move on. You've got a lot of drawings just of the property. We really do not see the neighborhood, and I think it might have helped you, but I think we have enough to work with.
Point taken. Point taken.
Mr. Kim, would you or the owner please summarize the argument for zoning relief?
The argument for zoning relief for a special permit to build or to extend the building further into the rear yard setback is for a special needs accommodation for a special need for their son.
Yes. Sorry,
not,
I'm just gonna steer you back to the zoning bylaw. I just I'd like you to confirm that you're seeking relief under section 6, which I believe you did say before.
Yes, under section 6, that we find that the project is not more detrimental to the neighborhood, and quite the contrary.
Great, thank you. Board members, just pausing it there after the design and the zoning argument. Anything to ask about additionally before we go to other presenters? Steve?
I have no further questions.
Okay. Wadner?
No questions.
All right. Let's see. Public comment. I want to note that the board has received written comments in advance of the meeting from Nina Brown at 50 Gorham, commenting about the tree on the Greeno property that may be affected by the work, and also comments by Thomas Robinson, 195 Davis Avenue, in opposition, and that the applicant's responses to Mr. Robinson's comments were one of the documents that we received this afternoon. Cameron, do we have members of the public present, either those individuals or others who would like to speak in favor of the project?
I see no hands or comments.
Not in favor or in opposition?
Nope.
Okay. We can then go to the planning department and planning board reports.
Yep. So the planning board supports this proposal to add a 2-story rear addition. There should be no impact to abutters. The addition will have little impact on the frontage, and the addition is practically designed. The applicant is seeking relief for the side yard, or that should say rear yard setback under MGL section 6. Therefore, no counterbalancing amenity is required. The planning board recommends approval of the site prepared by Charles Brennan, PLS, dated July 3rd, 2025, and architectural plans prepared by Michael Kim, RA, dated May 23rd, 2025, on the following conditions. 1. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect, and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the Director for Regulatory Planning or designee for review and approval. And 2. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval the floor plans, site plans, and elevations displaying the approval stamp of the Director for Regulatory Planning and evidence that the Board of Appeals decision has been obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or their representative and recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Cameron, let me just pause you there because we did have a hand raised, and it may just be a late a public comment. It's coming up from Henry Warren, which who isn't a butter.
Henry, you are now able to unmute yourself to speak.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. So Henry Warren and Nina Brown are sitting here looking at the presentation at 80 Greeno Street. And I had submitted some comments, but I have a couple I'd like to make. One is I think it's important to put the dimensions of between the sunroom and our fence and the steps and landing from our fence. And also from between the edge of the ramp and our fence. And one of my concerns is there is no grading plan, and that's because the site is so flat, but there is some fill associated with the ramp. And we absolutely understand the importance of putting this ramp in and support the ramp. But there are things about the design of the ramp. There's fill that's not necessary, that's going to block the drainage from the foundation of the house towards the fence between our yard and their yard. And that could easily be solved by having a retaining wall where the ramp supported by the earth goes to the 1 and 12 ramp up to the porch. Because if you have fill below that ramp, it's going to trap drainage between the fill and the foundation of the house. And there's no need to have that fill if you put in a short little retaining wall. The other thing about the fill is, you know, there's a really gorgeous tree that was planted by the previous owners, the Dwyer family, that's a maple. And I sent a picture with my comments of what that tree looks like. And filling more than 6 inches over the base of a tree is not good for the tree. I'm a landscape architect. So that's why having a grading plan that shows where the fill is going to be next to the tree. And I'm assuming the tree is remaining. There hasn't been a permit filed to remove the tree, excuse me, an application filed to remove the tree. So we're assuming that tree is going to stay. We're also assuming it will have to be pruned up so that people can walk up the ramp without hitting their heads on the branches of the tree. So our concerns are drainage and the health of the tree. Henry, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't.
So we like the design of the sunroom, and we're glad there's not construction in the front of the house because that's a very pretty facade on Greeno Street. So that is it. And we don't really know how the patio works. Is that draining back to our yard or not? It doesn't have any spot elevations on it, so we can't tell. So that's why, even though this yard is very flat, the changes, the proposed design will affect the drainage in the yard, so it would be good to have some information about how that drainage works. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one other thought or concern about the.
Sorry, Henry, just give us your name on the record.
I'm sorry, Henry Warren.
Henry speaking? Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Henry Warren at 50 Gorham Avenue. I had some concern about the future setback, if that could be used as a precedent in future for siting a larger structure as close to the setback or as close to the property line if there's a substantial change to the design of a structure, a future structure occupying this general site.
This
Okay.
was a concern that Tom Robinson had in his comment.
Sure. Here's what I'm going to do. I mean, we are nominally, and can I ask Cameron, are there other members of the public waiting to comment?
No, they're
Okay.
the only other people in the call.
All right. I mean, a public comment is normally just public comment, and it's not an extended back and forth. But I am going to allow a little bit of that this evening. We don't have any other cases beyond this. And let me just go backwards. Henry, for the question that you're asking, I think I understand it. I think the hearing is not quite the place to tell you more about that. But my recommendation is you contact the planning department, probably to speak to Polly Selko, and I think she can explain to you what can and cannot happen in the future at the site. For the other questions that Nina has raised, I want to ask whether the applicant would read selectively from the comments that the applicant has already submitted to the board, and because the board only got them this afternoon, they may not have been available to the public. But Mr. Kim, this was in your letter to responded to Tom Robinson's comments, and could you just read your comments there about the setback of the ramp, the grading and drainage associated with the project at the Brown and Warren side of the property, and about the outlook for the tree?
Okay, I'm happy to.
Thank you.
Regarding the setback from the rear lot line, as as we previously discussed, the drawings submitted show a 9'4" setback, and I'm afraid I had the wrong set up. The staff did request those dimensions, which were added, but not posted. As I said, the remainder of the design is 14.6 feet from the rear lot line, and wheelchair ramps, both at grade and raised, I believe are exempt from setback requirements through the state. So that has been our practice over the last 20 years. As far as grading, the lot is substantially flat. We were going to request contour lines, and the surveyor came back and said, "There's only one line here." So, the lot is basically flat. The wheelchair ramp has two portions, one of which is a 1-20, i.e., not technically a ramp, and that's the part where we're grading the land. Then a 1-12 portion at the rear takes over to make the necessary height.
Mr. Kim,
yes.
I'm going to hem you in a little bit here.
Sorry.
Would you please
Yeah,
read
just read
your
that.
bold
Excuse me.
text, because I think it
Okay.
will actually address Ms. Brown's question.
I apologize.
About the lot is substantially flat and so on.
It's substantially flat, making contour lines on the survey irrelevant. The wheelchair ramp has a portion on modified grade, a portion as a structure. As discussed at the planning board, the construction drawings, which we will be working on hopefully after tonight, the final construction drawings will include stormwater management measures to ensure runoff will not affect abutting properties, to be reviewed by the building and planning department as a condition for the building permit. And then regarding the tree, an arborist has examined the tree and advises it's not in good health and may not survive excavation for the addition footings. The owners are planning on replacing the tree with new screening trees of equivalent caliper size.
Mr. Can I, and this is beyond the purview of the ZBA, but do you have an understanding as to whether the removal of that existing tree is subject to regulation?
I don't know that. We would normally leave that to the arborist. It's my general understanding that the root ball is approximately what the canopy is, and as we mentioned, the tree canopy would have to be cut back, which would endanger the tree root ball. So it's iffy whether it would survive. But the owner does wish to have screening trees, so that is their plan.
It's not our area, but as you may know, if you do work in Brookline, there is a permitting process for removal of trees, and
Yes.
I'm
that
sure
would be followed.
it will come find you if you don't go looking for it.
Right.
All right. Cameron, no other public comment in the meantime?
No other public comments.
All right. Let's talk about the building department, and you'll give us the report, and then I want to spend a minute just discussing with the members and with your input, Karen, on the relation of this interesting process that the building commissioner has gone through just a couple days ago.
Sure. So as for the building department report, the building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw, board's decision, and applicable codes.
All right. So I'm going to just talk to members about the November 4th letter from the building commissioner that received a copy of this morning. This is addressed to Michael Kim. And it describes a process where, if I'm understanding this right, would appreciate your comments on it. The building commissioner has received a request for reasonable accommodation from provisions of the zoning bylaw on the basis of a reasonable accommodation for an individual with a disability, and he has done that. And in his letter, he has granted the reasonable accommodation. As he says here, your client is granted a reasonable accommodation from the following specific requirements of the town, the Brookline zoning bylaw, including, exceptions to yard and setback requirements, rear yard requirements, to allow the project that we've been reviewing tonight, and also alteration or extension under 802. And notes then that the Attorney General has not given final approval to the Article 914, and if you look in the zoning bylaw, 914 is not there. I guess this is why the Attorney General has not approved it yet. So that what we've been doing this evening is a regular hearing, but this happens to be it's to request the same relief, but by a different means. And as far as I can tell, there isn't any interaction between these two requests and means of granting relief. Steve, Wadner, did you have different reactions or other thoughts about it?
No, I had the same reaction reading the commissioner's letter. That he made the 5-point findings that support his determination that it satisfies the requirements of the new article in the bylaw. And they seem to dovetail somewhat with one another, but it seems that he made the 5 specific findings that it would satisfy the requirements under that new provision, and that once the Attorney General would approves this, it will become part of the permanent zoning code. So, assuming that
But
happens.
and a tool, if I understand it right, a tool for the building commissioner to make use of, and not this board.
That's what it seems to me, is that
Yeah.
it would take it out of our hands to go into special permit territory and allow him to have the discretion if he makes the findings like this,
Right.
then he would grant a building permit without any zoning relief.
Right. If we had received this a little earlier, it would have allowed some time to go and find the actual. I was interested to see the text of 9.14. It's not really for us; it's for the commissioner, apparently. But I wasn't even able to locate it because it is not incorporated in the bylaw just yet. Wadner, thoughts from you about it?
I think it just the letter just kind of, all the planning board doesn't have the authority to give. Well, it's showing that the letter we did give a granting the reasonable accommodation, but it just the letter so that the board has in mind that is common. So if the board were to vote in the negative, so once that is approved by the AG's office, that can reverse the board decision. So I think it's just we have to have that in mind. as we reviewing that petition, so that, you know, if we say yes, it probably not gonna come, you know, have any negative effect. But if we say no, there's the potential that it will be override by the once if the AG's office okay that to become part of the bylaw. So I think it is something that we need to consider. And plus, you know, I do understand that there are some issues, like it's in the abutters. They want, you know, the owner to work with them and then make some thing, which it's reflected on the record. So I think that it's common, and it is something that the request, there's a need for it, a necessity for it, and I don't see the AG's office gonna say no to that warrant article, saying no, it's not moving forward, because the town tried to come to be in line with ADA, you know, requirement to make it more up to standards. So
Well, but what this is, but you know, the Attorney General's action not under our control, right? So we just have the, you know, I agree with you that you know, there are sort of two eventualities, but I think we have to deliberate and vote on the case, you know, in a fairly freestanding manner. But it's interesting to know the background. This is new, and you heard the applicant say that this was a first run for the building commissioner as well.
If I
All right,
may,
yeah.
the source of the regulation, I believe, is in the record of town meeting. So I think it's obtainable there.
Sure. Yes, and that's an example of where we could have got there, you know, given another day or so. But that's fine. You know, as my understanding is, it's not really for us. It's not really for this board in the first place. I think we've kind of inched our way towards deliberation. So why don't we let's just say we are going to deliberate now. I'm going to start with this time the request we have is a fairly request for relief is fairly straightforward. It is a Section 6 argument where, with the existing house already less than 30 feet from its rear lot line, it's 20.5 feet, and the requirement is 30 feet. This house is obviously much older than the zoning itself. They propose new construction to about 9 feet from the property line, and Section 6 describes the conditions under which this board can grant a special permit to allow that relief, whereas we've come to it before this evening. The question is whether in the board's view, such change, extension, or alteration shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood. My opinion is that it is not, and as we often rely on the 905 conditions in our bylaw for the granting of a special permit, I think have also been met in this case, and I'm inclined to vote in favor of it. Wadner, let me go to you next.
I do agree with you, Randolph, and I have nothing more to add.
Thank you. And you would vote?
Yeah, I will vote yes.
In favor. And all right, Steve, thank you.
I would agree. I appreciate the neighbors, the abutters argument, and I hope that they are taken to heart by the people who designed the construction drawings, and obviously take that into consideration and have the drainage addressed and the other issues addressed. And I would take Mr. Kim at his word that he's going to take care of that stuff.
Yeah, as you're suggesting, Steve, there are, you know, a number of questions remaining between here and construction, which are regulated by, you know, other agencies or documents within the town, not this board and not the zoning bylaw. That's trees, that's impact of a stormwater, and so on. And it is therefore a unanimous decision of this board to grant the requested relief, subject to the conditions that have been read into the record. And that, Cameron, unless you have any other business that we need to attend to, I'm getting a head shake there.
No other business.
Then that is the end of our meeting tonight. I'm going to we'll take a last vote just to adjourn. For moving to adjourn. Steve Brooks
Yes, please.
and Wagner Auger.
Aye.
Aye, all in favor. We are adjourned. Good night, everybody. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Good
your
night.
time.
Bye-bye.
Good night.